Earlier this year, I was lucky enough to go on an incredible trip to Piemonte in Italy with some of my closest friends. We did a ton of eating, a surprising amount of cooking for a holiday, and out of all the incredible things which we managed to cook over there, there was one dish that I just have not been able to get out of the back of my mind. And it was perhaps the simplest thing we cooked as a last-minute dish. And this was a plate of pasta with this very same brown butter and sage sauce with tons of Parmesan in it. It's incredibly simple to put together, but if you do it right, it is one of the most incredible plates of pasta that you'll have in your repertoire. I'm gonna protect my food and jump straight into it. No.
This sauce is, in theory, incredibly simple and quick to put together, but the execution is critical for the right amount of brown butter flavor, the perfect perfuming of sage, and the velvety creaminess of the sauce. My cravings here were pretty strong, so I just grabbed some simple tortellini from the convenience store next to me for this, but I would definitely recommend any sort of little stuffed pasta for this. Now, my pasta takes roughly 15 minutes to cook, so we're starting here, but if you have fresh pasta, make the brown butter sauce first, so you're not stressing. Now, for our sauce. We are going to need a modest 100 grams of butter split into 75 grams and 25 grams.
My god, what a professional.
After patting myself on the back, I also picked about 10 sage leaves and removed the stems. And that just about does it for our intensive ingredient preparation. To actually start cooking, add the 75 gram pat of butter to a wide bottom pan and melt this over medium-high heat. Now, butter looks like a solid, but it actually contains at least 15% water. So in order to actually start browning and developing that incredibly nutty caramelized flavor, we want to boil off all of the water first. At this point, once the bubbles become smaller and things feel like more of a foamy sizzle rather than a boil, you've removed most, if not all, of the water. Now, this is the part where you pay attention. Reduce the heat to medium or medium-low so that you have more control. This next critical step of browning the butter is where the butter starts to fry and toast the milk solids. This is the part that will actually impart them with that toasted, rich, complex flavor that we're looking for in this dish. You want to keep things moving and watch the heat very carefully. The goal is to brown the butter as far as possible without actually burning it. To slow down the browning process a little bit, and also obviously to flavor the butter, we're going to add our sage leaves to the pot at this point. Be sure to keep things moving so that they fry evenly. I like to tilt my pan for this step. Allow the sage leaves to fry and remove them to drain on some paper towels once they've mostly stopped bubbling. If at this point the air smells nutty and delicious, and if you look at the butter, if you see a pale brown color, you can go ahead and kill the heat and stop the browning by adding a good splash of pasta water. This will probably sizzle aggressively, so put a lid on it if it misbehaves too much. Now, once our pasta is almost cooked, we're going to start boiling that starchy water and brown butter combination to start creating our emulsion. What's an emulsion, you say? Well, I'm so glad you asked. An emulsion is when you combine water and fat together with something that keeps them combined and homogeneous, and you end up with something like a mayonnaise or a creamy pasta sauce. Whole butter is also technically an emulsion. So in this case, the starch inside of the pasta water is bringing together the water and the brown butter to make this beautiful sauce. Once your pasta's cooked, you can drain it and add it to the pan and continue to cook everything together whilst continually moving things around until the sauce completely comes together and adheres to your pasta. It's at this point where I like to add the remaining 25 grams of butter. This will help strengthen the butter emulsion and add some extra silkiness to the sauce. Once the sauce has completely come together, you can turn off the heat and add plenty of grated Parmesan directly to the pasta and start slowly stirring and emulsifying everything together. You can also add small splashes of pasta water here and there just to adjust the consistency. I would recommend plating this immediately, ideally on warm plates to keep your sauce at the perfect temperature, and I would optionally finish in maybe a couple of ways.
It is time to taste our pasta. Are you excited? Are you excited? She's excited. Now you can most definitely add a few things to this, so you can go ahead with a little bit of extra Parmesan if you would like. The sage, while it's not necessary for the top of the dish, you can either like place it down as a garnish or just like sprinkle it on top for a little bit of an even distribution, but however you want to eat it. It is perfectly amazing, exactly as it is. Let's taste. The sauce is nutty and savory and delicious and complex, despite the fact there's only a few ingredients. And if I'm being honest, despite the fact that we used super cheap and expensive tortellini, this is an incredible incredible plate of pasta. I hope you give this a shot. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please maybe go watch that video or subscribe right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Good. All right, drop it. You. So good.
Skinny, eat it dead.